writer's block?
A condition in which an author is either unable to produce new work or experiences a creative slowdown. Writer's block has various degrees of severity, from difficulty in coming up with original ideas to being unable to produce work for years.
I like to say it's not writer's block, but more so the creator or the author blocking themselves from writing.
If you're staring at a blank page for 10-20 minutes, you're blocking yourself. Nothing is blocking you from writing, even if you just start writing random words.
And I'll go more into that in a future video for this series. For this video in the series, another good way to beat writer's block is to fight writer's block with writer's block, literally. And what do I mean by that? Literally write about the current problem you're having, writer's block. So Dolo the Pilot Man, he's a man of many things. He's an astrologer, a businessman, Archangel Uriel. He's a musician, a rapper. He does it all. There was a video, he does a lot of live streams, and in one of them he was talking about how he doesn't experience writer's block because if he has quote unquote writer's block, he'll just literally write a rap song about having writer's block. So you can do that if you're a poet, if you're a rapper or a singer, or if you're just writing a story in general, just to get those juices flowing. And I've done this in similar ways. I don't think I've actually wrote a poem about having writer's block, but I might have. So I'll just have to look through my notes on that one. But I have wrote a poem about fighting my sleep. There was one night I couldn't sleep. I was fighting my sleep. I was trying to figure out something to do while I was up in the late hours of the night fighting my sleep. So I wrote about fighting my sleep. You can also write about just random things that happen throughout your day. Like I wrote a song about snapping out of a daydream. And I also wrote a song about the neighbor's cat crawling through my window because it was a random experience. It was a kind of wild experience because, you know, you're not just expecting to walk into your living room and see a random cat there and you don't have any pets at all. And come to find out it's the neighbor's cat coming through your window. And so I wrote a song about that. And what's unique about that day, me writing that song, is I was experiencing quote unquote writer's block. I wanted to write something. I think this was during the time where I was doing the 24-hour song challenges. And that particular day, I could not think of what to write for a song. And so I just let the day play out and an experience came to me and I used that experience to write. So I've actually written 3 poems about fighting my sleep, and I'm going to just read a few of the lines out of those poems in this video because I want to save this poem for a future video, actually reading the whole poem and maybe all 3 of them. So this first example I'm gonna read is literally one that I started writing out. I wasn't trying to make it a poem. It was mostly like starting out as a journal entry, like, you know, it's 2:30, I can't go to sleep right now, and just letting things flow out that way. But it still ended up being a poem. And so I'm just gonna read a few of those lines. 2:30 a.m. I'm sitting here with so much frustration. I can't sleep and I can't think straight. My mind is all over the place. I wish I was calm and relaxed. Hopefully in the morning I'll wake up happier than tonight. I feel like a mad woman sometimes. So there's a few more lines after that, but I'll read that in a future video. So this one here, the one that I'm about to read a few lines from, this is my favorite poem that I've written about fighting sleep of the 3. And this is the one where I was actually intentionally trying to write a poem about it. So I'm just gonna read a few lines. He tries to sell me a dream each night. And I know I have to read between the blurred lines because it's never what it seems on the surface. I pretend I believe him as he crawls into bed behind me, my face buried in the pillow. I let him slip into me briefly, and my eyes squint shut, burning from wanting to cry out. So that's just the first half of that poem. And if you want to hear the full version, make sure you stay to the end of this video where it'll be up in one of these sides for you to click on. Since I read some lines from the poems I wrote about fighting sleep, I also want to read some of the lines from the songs that I wrote using these examples of how to fight writer's block with writer's block. So the song that I was talking about, Snapping Out of a Daydream, Can't remember my dream last night, but now I get to daydream. What am I gonna do today? That's what I start thinking. Walking on power lines, looking down on the street, taking the first fly from a bird's nest in a tree. Soaring through the sky, I spot a rainbow glistening. Ride it till the end, and now the gold is in front of me. A little leprechaun is never what I seen. I thought to myself, I better hide what I found before everyone wants a piece, and then suddenly it slips away from me. So that's a part of the song about snapping out of a daydream, and that will be pinned somewhere too or linked in the description. Now, like I said, with the song about the cat crawling through my window, that day I was having that creative block, that writer's block, and I didn't know what I was going to write about for a song or anything that day. And it was like nothing was coming to me. But then the cat came and that experience happened, so I wrote about that experience. And the song basically ended up being about curiosity and risk-taking. So this is how I started off that song. 4 p.m. in the afternoon, I'm just chilling in my bedroom, trying to think about another song to make. Suddenly, no silence, I start hearing things. I think my son is coming, but to my surprise, a little cat turns the corner. We're both staring at each other. I'm starting to wonder, am I tripping or am I high? Haven't even smoked yet, so I know it's not my mind. I'm not seeing things, no, it's for real. Kitty crawling in on the windowsill. My window's open, come see what's in here. I got 9 lives, so what's the point of fear? So, that's just a little part of that song that I wrote. And again, if you want to listen to the full version, I will have it linked in the description. And please check those songs out. I really enjoyed making those songs. Those are 2 of my favorites out of, I can't even remember how many it was. I think it was 20 songs that I made during that challenge, but out of how many it was, I think 20, those were 2 of my favorites. I do feel like those showcase, some of my better written work. So definitely check those out. If you're interested in more ways to keep yourself in a creative state and away from these creative blocks and these writer's blocks, subscribe to the channel and watch this video next to hear the song I wrote. Let's use the daydream example, the song I wrote about snapping out of a daydream, and click this video if you want to hear the full version of the poem I wrote about fighting my sleep. And don't forget, this is a series, so there will be a follow-up video after this with another good way to beat writer's block. So again, subscribe to the channel if you're interested in more ways to snap out of those creative blocks and those writer's blocks.